Hello and welcome to the highlights from the RHS Chelsea Flower Show 2024, an event supported by the Newt in Somerset.
It has been a truly memorable week. The designers and exhibitors pulled out all the stops after a really difficult winter to put on a real spectacle here at the world's greatest flower show.
And in true British style, the weather was unpredictable, but it didn't dampen anyone's spirits. They kept going, didn't they, Drew? You were here through the build.
The build they were dealing with, one day torrential rain, the next day kind of baking sunshine, but actually the week arrived and everything has just come out as it should.
Yeah, and the plants have been growing on the gardens throughout the week as well. It's looking spectacular now.
There's so much variety here as well. I mean, that's what's been wonderful this year. There are all these main show gardens on Main Avenue are wonderful. They're so different as well.
No two look the same. Sometimes, do you mean that one or that one we talk about? But yeah, there's so much to talk about, so many ideas. It's really been a wonderful show.
The Great Pavilion as well. That has been spectacular, as it always is.
Yeah, plants from all over the world, everywhere.
Well, we had a great start to the week as the gates opened and a host of famous faces got their first glimpse of the showground.
When you're stood in a lovely garden, it's just a joy. Just to be outside with nature, taking in the air, and to appreciate life itself. I think it's important to take those moments to do that.
It's actually genuinely a highlight for the year. I'm a keen gardener, and so I come here to try and flag bits for the garden, get some ideas. It's also just the people spotting.
My biggest memory of our garden growing up was that my mum would chuck us out into the garden to play, and we would bury all her cutlery and crockery, and she'd let us do it just to keep us quiet, really, didn't you?
Unfortunately, they didn't grow to be more silverware.
No, exactly.
Yeah, we arrived at 9 o'clock and we were chomping at the bit. It's like Black Friday for us. So we make as much of our time here as possible. We love it, it's great. It's one of my favourite days of the year.
Well, we're looking at a beautiful garden right now. It's the Water Aid Garden, which is what's cool about Chelsea. You see all of these compacted beauty, this kind of cornucopia of different gardenal delight.
My world is about the here and now. Gardening is about the long-term plan, the long-term future. And I think it's allowed me to be patient a little bit more.
I've never been before, and I've come with my mum and my sister, and we're just here to be inspired and to realise how bad we are at gardening. Great inspo of the little shed that has an Arga in it. It's the most middle-class shed I've ever seen in my life. Love that.
This is a great example of how you can connect with nature, with people, and with yourself. With yourself, the most important thing is to feel good about who you are. And that's what gardening does to you.
So lovely to see everyone enjoying Chelsea and having a great time. Now, before the show officially opened, I joined the Chelsea designer Robert Myers for an exclusive first look at his St James's Piccadilly garden, which reimagined the existing space at the famous London church. And it is incredible how he pulled off such a feat in just 3 weeks. Well, here it is, the finished garden, and the counselling hut is looking magnificent. It's a really lovely space inside there, really calm and tranquil, like the garden itself, in fact. And the great news is that Robert did manage to plant it all. Here he is. Well done. You must be breathing a huge sigh of relief.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, our planting team put in some long hours to get this done. My concern was that we'd still be laying bricks and laying paving when the judges were coming around, but actually it all went to plan, really, and we finished, Friday evening as we'd planned to in the end.
You have, I mean, that's been the big challenge, hasn't it? You've got a huge structure, and it's interesting now that you've finished it all to see it from all the different angles, because from one side of the showground, it's really quite austere, isn't it? Whereas in here, it's lovely.
At St James's, the idea is that the church can see out to the community can see into the church through Wren's iconic clear glass windows. And what's so lovely about this is that at the show people can see into the garden from the outside and from the garden conversely out. So structure, getting that up, there's a bit of steel in there, but it's standing well.
And the planting itself is beautiful. It's very it's quite toned down, splashes of colour.
Yes, we wanted to create a sense of an urban oasis, a sort of pocket park, and I think by using a lot of textural greens, different leaf shapes and textures, you get that sense of calm rather than a lot of colours sort of jangling at you. But there's some spots of colour, as you say, that things are coming out all the time as we're sitting here.
What's your favourite bit of the garden?
Well, I love it all, really, but I do particularly like the walk that one takes through the garden and then the kind of change of pace at the back as you go into the woodland garden and gently rise up into the counselling cabin.
You've even got a compost heap.
We do have a compost heap, yes. Every garden should have one.
Well, is that going to be put in St James's Piccadilly at the end of this?
I think we'll yes, definitely put it in there. They've got one at the moment, but I think this is vastly superior.
Well, you must be very relieved. Was there a point at which you thought this wasn't going to be finished in time?
Not really, because you've kind of got to do it, and you've just got to, get it done. But it's whether you can do it in a way that actually creates that illusion of it being a kind of garden that's been there for many years and that sort of maturity. You need time for the plants to settle.
Well done. It's looking wonderful.
Well, Robert is officially a Chelsea great, and he created a garden that stopped people in their tracks all week. Now, from an experienced Main Avenue designer to one making their debut at Chelsea, I explored the personal meaning behind Mira Harris's first ever show garden. This garden is a very personal story because Mira had a stroke, and that life-changing event meant that she wanted to seize every opportunity when it came up, especially if you're a garden designer, to do a Main Avenue show garden. And this is her first time ever here, and it's a fabulous garden, and it really tells that story as well. Most critically, it's about support. And this wall represents support, as do sort of these trees around. There's that strength around you. And this is moulded by her hand, exactly fits her hand, and it really is a lovely thing to lean against as well. Now, this is made from hemp, and it's lime rendered on top. In fact, there is no cement in this garden whatsoever, and there's no plastic in it either. This is hemp again, this paving material across here. And you get different journeys that lead you through this garden, which means you have a choice of journeys, but it all depends on the speed of your recovery as well, which is really important. Now, sustainability, biodiversity are key in this garden as well, and the planting palette is a huge range. We've got hot oranges and yellows over there, cooler blues and pinks behind me, but it's all about pollinators, bringing bees and hoverflies into this garden. And she says that if you grow from seed, those plants are much stronger and better for pollinators. So we've got things like the poppies, there's a little bit of variety, and there's a little bit of wonkiness in them too, but I love that. It feels very natural, and it all centres around this natural wildlife pond as well. Works beautifully.
Congratulations to Mira for creating such a wonderful garden. Now, plenty of planting and design trends emerged throughout the week here at RHS Chelsea, ones which we can take home and include in our own gardens. Colour is always king at Chelsea, and this year you can't escape the colour purple.
This garden has used purple to really great effect in a limited colour palette of just green, purple and white. And the impact of that is very calming and soothing and quite centering. The kind of purple you choose can really affect the feel of the garden as well. So this Circeum is very deep and rich purple, beautiful and quite brooding, against the Hesperus, which is very soft and pale and soothing and calming. Also, the stem colour is important. So the Solenum has beautiful purple stems with the green foliage that offsets it. Now, purple generally tends to be a very good colour for attracting wildlife and pollinators. So they can add a little bit of function to your borders as well. And offset with that yellow, it's such a beautiful and striking combination. This garden uses purple foliage very effectively. So things like this Didonia viscosa purpurea is a really unusual shrub with lovely purple leaves, but also there's more playful things like bronze fennel, there's purple-leafed kale. And all of this purple foliage bounces off the silver foliage, so things like Elaeagnus quicksilver, which makes the whole space feel very arid and hot and dry, which is not what you'd typically expect in a garden that's dominated by deep purple colours. This lovely iris is Deirdre, and it's a really unusual colour of purple. Tonally, it's much more red than the other flowers that we've seen, and against the yellow of its throat, it's just gorgeous. But there's also the deep purples of the opium poppy, the pale purples of the tallbagia, and all different things in between. So if you do want to use purple in your garden, don't be rigid and stick to the same old purples you've seen over and over again. Be bold and brave, and really think about the atmosphere that the purples you use can create within your garden. When we think about colour, we tend to think about how we use it in the garden and maybe overlook how we can use it in our homes. But the colour of houseplants can really affect the mood and atmosphere of our homes. I'm going to have a look. With purple hues, you really get the chance to maximise the drama of your houseplants. Just look at this calathea. That's beautiful variegation on the top of the leaf in different shades of green. But on the underside of the leaf is this dramatic purple colour. It's so beautiful. Now this, because of this different green top, is adapted for very dark conditions. So in a dark house or a dark corner, this will really thrive.
One flower that you can grow in a whole host of colours is the sweet pea, and it's a favourite of Dame Mary Berry's. She met a grower in the Great Pavilion who has dedicated decades to this stunning bloom.
I'm here to meet a sweet pea grower who's been competing since he was a lad. His biggest rival is his dad. I just wonder how he's got on today. This is Darren Everest's beautiful display of sweet peas. Done in this way, in little bunches, you can see each individual flower and a leaf and a tendril. And the smell is overwhelming. Darren, what a beautiful display of sweet peas. Very different. How did you fall in love with sweet peas?
I started off as a dahlia grower when I was 13. Been growing them for several years, and then my dad started growing sweet peas, and I just thought, well, if he can grow them, it'd be nice if I had a go, and then we can compete against each other. And I thought, well, if I can try and beat him at one show just during the season, I'll be pleased with that. Now it's come full circle, and he's trying to beat me at the shows.
Has it been a difficult year for you with sweet peas?
The most difficult year, and even up until 3 weeks ago, you know, I had flooding in the polytunnel. I lost about 2/5 of my plants, they just rotted in the ground. But luckily, just a week or so ago, the sun started to shine, and it just brought them on just in the nick of time.
These look amazing, but are they easy to grow at home?
Absolutely. If I can grow them, anyone can grow them. You can grow them in pots, you can grow them in the open ground. What you want is plenty of air circulation around them. They don't want to be all bunched up. Ideally, you can grow them up a column or an inverted wigwam is ideal, because the plants start small and they want to go bigger.
Well, I grow mine, as you would do runner beans, up canes, but I noticed some of the buds were falling off. Why is that?
The buds fall off because it drops below 8 degrees at night, and if it drops below 8 degrees at night, all the buds fall off. Or if there's a big difference between day and night time temperature, the buds also fall off. As beautiful as they are, they can be a little difficult at times.
Darren, you must have some favourite sweet peas.
This is one of my favourites, Mary, or the favourite of mine. It's called Dawn Everest, and I had it named after my wife for her wedding present. It's got a beautiful scent, and the colour is just perfect.
May I have a smell?
Yes, of course you can.
Oh, it smells wonderful.
This is another one of my favourites, Mary. This is called Millie, and it's a very deep pink. And actually today it's perfect because it matches your outfit wonderfully.
And it does match your waistcoat.
Yes, it's Chelsea, we have to make an effort.
So this year, great joys, it's a gold.
Oh, it's incredible. We still haven't come to terms with it. You know, on our second year to get gold is incredible.
What do you think Dad's going to say?
I'm pretty confident I know what my dad's going to say. He's going to say, didn't I teach him well?
Congratulations to Darren. It certainly was a golden year here in the Great Pavilion, with 50 gold medals being awarded this year. Amazing.
Amazing. The quality is astounding in here, and I love the way it just transports you all over the world. You know, it really is great. But I particularly love the mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to start growing oyster mushrooms. You know, you buy them in a kit and they're so beautiful.
I love the roses in here every year. Same ones, David Austin, Peter Beale, and then obviously Raymond Everson and his clematis. You can't, I mean, they're just spectacular. The thing though about this Great Pavilion is they do come back year after year and they win gold because they are so, the standard's so high. The pressure's on, isn't it, to keep that standard up?
It really is on, yeah. And as you walk in, I mean, the smell of the lilies, the fragrance in here is just wonderful as well. It's amazing.
It was also rather handy in the middle of the week when it was torrential rain.
Yeah.
It got quite busy in here then, didn't it?
Yeah, it got a bit sort of humid. People pile in here in the rain, don't they?
Yeah.
And then it dries out, everyone piles out. Oh, it's raining again, they're coming in again. Brollies everywhere. No, it's a very buzzy place.
It's always very buzzy. Well, it wasn't just medals that were handed out, there were some big awards as well. Honourable mentions include Lara Thorpe, who won the prestigious title of RHS Chelsea Florist of the Year for her floral creation, Spectrum of Fire. And the Pure Grenada was chosen for this year's RHS President's Choice Award with a stunning display.
And earlier in the week, I caught up with the winner of the big one, the RHS Best Exhibit in the Great Pavilion. I'm with Leon Kluger, the designer. Leon, lovely to meet you. Carol has not stopped raving about you and the exhibit. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. She's been very kind.
Well, I can see why. I mean, it really is stunning. And it's obviously taken a huge amount of work getting it here and putting it together. How's that been?
Yeah, so the work started about 3 weeks ago when we visited all the flower farms around the Cape.
Yeah.
So that's a distance of about 1,000 kilometers between all the flower farms. Yeah. And I visited everyone that I think will have a flower open, because this is still early in the season for the proteas to be open. They only open about mid-June, early July.
Right, okay.
So I would phone up all of them, say how many buds of this is maybe going to open, then go there, make sure it's packed, and then get the trucks 2 degrees from the farms to Cape Town, Cape Town to Dubai, Dubai to Heathrow, Heathrow here. Yeah, and once we get them here, we cut them, let them drink, but it looks horrible. All the flowers are flat and it looks like, you know, you can't use them all, but let them drink overnight, the next morning they'll
Really, they just puff up straight away?
Exactly, yeah.
Because they're a wonderful cut flower, aren't they?
Magnificent. If you look after them, a month in a vase, nothing.
Yeah, yeah. And then, okay, so you've got all the plants here, and then you've got to build this exhibit. I mean, these clay structures are fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you bring those, did you fly them over with you?
No, so everything was handmade here. So I got the clay from the UK, and we tested it back in South Africa. You know, our hot weather, it cracks in a day. Here, I was molding the clay with my fingers, and it started to rain, beautiful UK weather.
Lovely.
And my clay is just staying smooth as silk. It freaked me out completely. Plan A, B, and C. Oh, I don't have those. But luckily, over the weekend, you had some sun, and it cracked beautifully.
So the cracking, I mean, it really is a picture, and you've got so much height in it. It's not just you, right?
We're a team of 7.
Okay.
Everybody has importance. Somebody just focusing on structural work. Somebody just cutting flowers, making sure all the ugly little leaves are off. Yeah, so it's a close-knit team.
Fantastic. Listen, the exhibit looks absolutely amazing. You got the award. Congratulations, well done. Lovely to meet you.
It's great to see Leon and the entire South Africa team back here at Chelsea. Now, there were plenty of celebrations on Main Avenue too this week as the RHS handed out those all-important medals. Here are Adam and Joe with a rundown of this year's results.
Designer Matthew Childs has got a silver gilt medal, and it's a great goal. It raises awareness of HIV and it's based on a Welsh slate mine. And I love the balance between the planting, which is picked up on the hard landscaping. It's got a real cohesive feel throughout.
Una Maria was the winner of Young Designer at Tatton 2017. First garden at Chelsea, and she wins a gold medal. It is absolutely stunning. Ula, first gold medal, you seem incredibly in control of your emotions.
I'm so pleased inside. I'm absolutely overjoyed for the whole muscular dystrophy UK community and construction team. Absolutely thrilled.
These are some of the largest walls I've ever seen at Chelsea. It gives that sense of enclosure, but it's all brought down into the space by the trees that are surrounding it as well. This is the St James's Piccadilly garden by Robert Myers and got a gold medal. Robert, congratulations. Were you particularly nervous about this garden?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you know, we've created this rather ginormous structure. A bit worried that the judges might think that it's just all a bit too much, but what a relief.
Sophie and Dido, it's their first time at Chelsea and they have got themselves a silver gilt. They have created a sanctuary of calm. I think I might stay. Two creatives, how's that collaboration gone?
It's been so much fun. We're both very opinionated.
But quite good listeners.
So it's worked really well.
Fantastic collaboration.
This is designer Mira Harris's first show garden ever, and it's on Main Avenue at Chelsea. Now, Mira suffered a stroke, and it's about stroke recovery. And it's been designed without any plastic or any concrete at all. She got a bronze medal, but the people at the show, and the wildlife especially, are absolutely loving this garden. So Mira, this is your first show garden ever, Chelsea Main Avenue.
No, go big or go home, or go big and go home.
Designers Tom and Jay have got themselves a gold medal. This is a very, very clever collaboration. Tom, reality is it's another gold medal for you. You, Jay, first time medal. What does it feel like, my friend?
Amazing. Exhausted. Yeah.
Adam knows that, yeah. You know
That's
that
what
bit.
you look like.
Yeah.
This garden's designed by Anne-Marie Powell. The idea is it's built on a brownfield site. It's a community space, but with lots of areas to interact. Seating areas, there's water, and then the planting is the most vibrant on the showground. Now, Anne-Marie got a silver gilt medal. I think this is a wonderful garden.
Fab to get a silver gilt medal. You know, urban community green space shouldn't be a luxury, should it?
Certainly not.
Tom has picked up his 9th gold medal at the Chelsea Flower Show. This garden is elegant, timeless, tranquil. Tom, your 9th gold medal at the Chelsea Flower Show. Would you like to share the secret?
I think it's pretty simple, really. You've got to work with the best people, and then you've got to trust them.
This man oozes charm.
To see how Tom managed to earn another Chelsea gold, Adam and I took a stroll through his garden. Now, RHS Chelsea is all about making sure that we can all access green spaces, and that ethos is on display right here on Main Avenue. For almost 100 years, the National Garden Scheme has enabled people to share their own private gardens and passion for plants with the public. And this year, the National Garden Scheme has a large show garden of its own, designed by the Chelsea legend, Tom Stewart Smith. This is it. It is absolutely magical. And at the back here, this wonderfully crafted hut, where I'm hoping I might get perhaps a bit of tea, a spot of cake.
There we go, my dear.
Adam.
I've been busy, though. National Garden Scheme, it's not just about the gardens, is it?
No, it really isn't. You're not going to tell me you've made some
I
cake.
tell you. You wait till you see this.
Oh,
I've been
wow.
a busy boy.
You didn't make that.
You know, I even grew the rhubarb.
Oh, you are a man of many talents, aren't you?
This, though, the craftsmanship.
It's amazing, the detail.
Yeah, I'm staying here all week. But I've got a sink, I've got a cooker, tables, fitted furniture, even old tools on the wall. The atmosphere is incredible. And then I'm looking out onto that view.
Lovely.
Look at that.
It really is a garden that makes you want to go and explore. Come on, let's go and have a look.
Let's go and have a look. Hey.
It is a very clever simplicity to this garden.
I walked in, and being honest, I got goosebumps. The atmosphere is incredible. It's calm, but I want to show you something.
Go on.
All right? That down there is called Saruma. I've never seen it at the Chelsea Flower Show. It's related to ginger. You get that lovely yellow flower and that foliage. That is a cracker.
It's like a sort of carpet, isn't it? Surrounding the hazel trees. I love these trees.
The hazel, they make you feel comfortable, but they're brought down into the garden by the rhododendrons. Then they create this rhythm that leads the eye, and then you get down to this sort of herbaceous, which is just elegant.
It's so elegant because it's green, it's white. He's such a confident gardener, Tom Stuart Smith, isn't he?
Yeah, even when you look at the materials, it's just brick and it's stone and it's timber. And then, yeah, textures, finishes, forms, and just this sort of calmness of the pale colours and the confidence to work with green.
It's a lovely tribute, isn't it, to the National Garden Scheme and the beautiful gardens up and down the country.
I mean, I've been lucky enough to visit so many, and we've got some great designers here, but some of those gardens created by the National Garden Scheme are the best in the country.
And a lot of these plants, I think, have actually been donated by private gardens.
Which is lovely, isn't it?
It really is.
And if they can visit and see their plant in a Chelsea garden, that's special.
Well, I think we should hang out here a little bit longer. Should we go back and have a bit of tea, bit of cake?
Cake. I put a lot of effort in it.
It smells good. Come on, let's go.
Not all the gardens here at the show are judged, and one of them, which is a Chelsea first, was designed by a group of children from a local primary school. Designer Harry Holding turned the kids' drawings into an RHS feature garden, and I went to see how he got on before the show opened. This whole garden's brilliant. I feel like a kid in it myself. Harry,
Welcome.
lovely to see you.
Good to see you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Joe.
It's all come together.
It has indeed, yeah.
The water, you were a bit worried about the water features, and they seem to be flowing nicely. I can hear a good trickle.
The sound, I think that's the final thing that has really come in the last 2 days, just having that stream flowing and just sitting in this place in the shade with the cool of the water. And yeah, I think that's been a real success. I think the challenge of the water was just about having such a depth, you know, going down to nearly 1.5 metres and having a really deep rock pool, but that isn't that wide. So
the challenges of design and construction.
Exactly. But we had the best on the case. So.
Yeah, but it does feel like, you know, if I was a kid in this garden, I'd have so much to explore, so much to see. It's about connecting with kids with nature, with horticulture, with adventure, with the outdoors.
Absolutely, and you know, this really is that. It's just trying to celebrate horticulture, gardening, and I think the importance of getting children engaging with the natural world. And we had 4 of the children, co-designers from Sullivan Primary School, come yesterday. Straight away they were in here scrambling over the boulders, climbing up into the den. Obviously the slide was a huge hit. So, it's worked out well.
It's an RHS feature garden, so it's not going to be judged at all. But I guess the biggest critics are going to be the kids coming and seeing it for themselves, because you've had to interpret all those different ideas and make it into a cohesive design. It's a bit like designing by committee, but you have created a cohesive space here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so definitely harshest critics are children, but they're very honest. So out of the 4 yesterday, I got a 9.5 out of 10 because the stream wasn't quite running yet. So, you know, it wasn't the full 10, but one of the others gave us a 10 out of 10. So let's see how it's received tomorrow. But so far, so good.
And it's full of wildlife, isn't it? You've got the carnivorous plants over there. It's full of, it just feels like it's full of wildlife, very alive.
I think that's a fun thing with Chelsea, coming to this plot and it just being a rectangle of turf and really, you know, bringing all these plants in. It's just now teeming with pollinators, and it really does feel like it's buzzing with life.
So it's not just for the kids, it's for everybody.
I think that's it, and you know, huge part of their designs and brief was about incorporating wildlife-friendly features and having habitat for you know, different elements. Like here, we've got the artistic sort of bird bath coming through. That's in this playful sculptural style of the clay wall by Finbar Ward, the artist, and I think that's just such an important thing to bring into a garden which, you know, feels very natural but still has that really designed sort of human element in it.
It's great. It's great. Congratulations. The kids are going to love it. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You enjoyed it out there. No adults allowed. You were straight on that garden.
I love kids' garden. Can you remember being a kid in a garden and what it was like?
Absolutely, yeah. My parents are still in the same house that I grew up in. And when we first moved there, the garden was kind of a wasteland, but it had a Wendy house and a swing.
Right.
But my parents are great gardeners, and what do?
Get rid of the Wendy house and the swing.
I honestly still remember them doing that. But we also have, and still have, a lovely pergola. So I've actually grown up having, lovely meals outside. So I feel very at home here.
So you charted the history. That charts your life, that garden.
It really does.
Yeah,
I remember revising for my exams. And
when we
all
were
that.
kids, we just weren't allowed to play football in the garden.
I'm not surprised.
Because me and my brother loved playing football, and it was like, you can't play football in the garden. You're going to have to go to the park down the road and play football. My grandparents really got me into gardening in the first place. Well, we've got plenty more highlights for you tonight on the RHS Chelsea Flower Show 2024, an event supported by the Newt in Somerset.
But first, Chelsea is great at offering clever solutions for those of us with limited outside space at home. Toby paid a visit to the balcony and container gardens to discover the clever ideas on show.
The balcony and container gardens are such a brilliant category because they're so relatable. And I think of them as the horticultural equivalent of the space race, with designers trying to outdo each other with innovative ideas and planting schemes that work in plots the size of postage stamps. Never mind a room with a view, this is a balcony with so much to look at. The planting itself is packed in and joyous. That's the sort of vibe of a garden that's been created by someone that comes back from the market with something new every single day. But the really clever part of this garden is above head height. Thanks to this laser-cut steel pergola, it creates a wonderful sense of enclosure, making this a proper outside room. If you're going to the market every day and buying plants, you're going to run out of space at ground level. And when that happens, take the space from above head height. Very clever. Small, but a big slice of the Dolce Vita. When designing a small space, a good rule to remember is keep it simple. Designer Thomas Clark has done exactly that. But what really ties this garden together is the repeated use of the same materials. You see the wood cladding on the walls, and the timber in the pergola, and these chips in the tiles below my feet, that all comes from the same group of ash trees. And the same can be said of this cantilevered bench. The weight of it is held by the planter behind. And that means it has no legs and creates some very nifty storage space. We all need a bit of that. Designer Sam Proctor has achieved the impossible and made water butts sexy. I mean, look at that. The water butts themselves are made of this gorgeous glossy blue fiberglass that match the planters, and the planters are full of tech. See, underneath each one there is a reservoir that's fed by a computer on the tap that stops them overflowing. Now, saving water will save you a bit of money, go a little way to saving the planet, but it also is better for plants because they prefer what comes out of the sky to what comes out of the tap. And that means more unusual things will happily grow in this sun-baked courtyard, like cornice trees that normally thrive in woodsy soils, and thirsty numbers like lupins. This masterpiece sums up what the balcony and container gardens are all about. Yeah, sure, they're small, but the well of creativity runs deep.
Everyone can be inspired by what's on display here at Chelsea. This year, the Houseplant Studios came up with some creative ways to transform your home into a haven. JJ went to see them, and it's safe to say they got him in the right mood for the weekend.
Sorry, this is Verdant Visions by Plants by There. It's a 70s nostalgic dreamscape that combines retro items with retro plants. Well, this is quite something.
Yeah, you can't miss it, that's for sure.
What were you thinking when you came up with all this?
I like to tell a story when I work with plants. The idea is that it's an average person's bedroom, but it's a dream. So they're waking up into this dream world, they've seen a band perform on TV or heard a record, and it's imagining themselves being that pop star or being in that person's place.
These houseplants seem to be having a bit of a revival.
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely back, I think. There's so many things here that people will recognise from their childhood or their grandparents' house or their parents' house. And that was a big inspiration for me, thinking about the plants that I used to see in my grandparents' flat, how they would garden in a small space, and it would be, you know, plants like this that they would work with.
What is it about them, actually, that has made them sort of, in some ways, stand the test of time?
I think a lot of them are very easy to grow, and there's plants that suit every area of your house. So dark rooms, brighter rooms, they're kind of like problem-solving plants compared to a lot of like the newer, more tender stuff.
Do you have a favourite plant from all of it?
It's the Dieffenbachia, because the leaves are just so vibrant and the patterns on them, they look a bit artificial, but they're really jungly and they're really impactful. So you put one of those in a room and it just brings it to life.
So if I wanted to have my own sort of 70s fever dream, what plant should I start with?
I think something like a snake plant, a Sansevieria, really forgiving. They don't like a lot of watering. You can pretty much ignore them for a month, go on a holiday and come back and they'll be absolutely fine. They're really inexpensive, they're really tough, and they're just a great way to get into indoor gardening.
Nice.
And if you don't have a lot of space, this is perfect, because that's great on a desk or a coffee table. You can pop it in a darker space and it will survive. It might not grow very quickly, but it's going to stay green, and that's what you want, essentially.
Thank you. I mean, all I need is a glitter ball to go with it.
Well, the All About Plants category is a place for a new up-and-coming designer to push the boundaries in garden design and show their passion for plants. Arit, Nick and Adam went to take a look at the work of the next generation of designing talents.
One category that I'm really starting to enjoy at this show is the All About Plants.
Yeah, I mean, there's a great series of gardens. It's brilliant for new designers to show off really kind of pioneering ideas.
I know, and they really enjoy when we go by, get involved, and have a really good look. So let's pair up, split up, and report back on what you're reporting back.
I love the fact you're just organised.
Yes, sir.
Nick, I think you're going to love this garden because take a look around, 90% of it is edible.
It is amazing. I mean, I have to say, if you think of a typical edible garden, it's fruit and veg in rows, but this is a kind of beautiful meadow matrix.
Oh, it is. It's gorgeous. And so the plants within here, so things like this Persicaria, really healthy soil system. They bring up all of the micronutrients through their roots, obviously, and then that microbiome that's on the plants hits our gut, which we're eating, which is therefore really good for our system, our mental well-being. So you've got a landscape that's feeding not only the soil, but feeding us.
And it looks gorgeous as well.
Oh no, I love it. I absolutely love it. It is of no surprise why you brought me onto this garden.
Seriously, I saw this. I'm like in a sweet shop. I'm going to take you back, right? So when I learnt design quite a while ago, but it was less is more. So we put in a few silver birches, a drift of this, a drift of that, job done. Now, pests, diseases, biosecurity, environmental change, the diversity in here, for me, is the way forward.
I knew that this would be a magnet for you. Thousands of plants, it's no surprise.
Well, this is my choice of garden. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
It is. As sad as it sounds, I like the pathing here.
It's certainly different, and it kind of tears out into the planting. I love the way she's kind of got this unity through the planting, so these clipped kind of prunus run all the way through, the wonderful swan neck kind of umbrella quality to them. The fact they kind of lean in and over.
Just wrapping it.
Yeah, exactly. I think what's really clever is the way the colour palette transitions. So sort of neutrals through here, slightly altering into kind of purples and yellows, but then it hits absolute joy back here. And I think it's just a lovely kind of mix. What do you reckon?
First of all, the planting looks quite flat, but then you realise that no, the pop all the way through. There's an elegance.
There is, and I think just those layers give it that interest, that kind of depth. And you feel quite immersed in it. I think it's pretty good.
I think it is, mate. I think it is.
I think some really interesting ideas out there.
Yeah, think as well a good diversity of different designs, which is great.
And there's so much for the public to take away, so many lovely ideas. But I think now we deserve a cup of tea.
Tea?
Yeah, well, not for you.
Yeah, it's all about plants category. It's great, isn't it? You're getting new designers coming into that area, the balcony gardens, the smaller gardens, basically container gardens as well, and then you see them progressing through the shows. And also I see garden designers at Hampton Court and Tatton Park doing smaller gardens, and it's just really good show experience, and on smaller budgets, and then you end up doing a bigger garden. And now someone like Tom Massey, I remember him, and now he's what we call a seasoned designer. He's here every year.
I remember him coming here. It was 2018, and he was like the youngster on the block, and now he's here every year. I met Tom Bannister, who's only 24 years old, and he's just got the People's Choice on the container and balcony gardens. Yeah. He's so young, but he already saying, I'm coming back next year, I want to come and do this, I want a sanctuary garden, so moving up.
You see that progression, and I've got to say the RHS are really good at supporting designers and mentoring them and putting them with another designer, but it's that whole show experience, and so it's slightly addictive as well. Once you've done one, you want to come back and have a go at doing another one, and if you get a silver or silver gilt, you want to have a go at getting a gold as well. So it's highly addictive.
Yeah, I really do. Tom Massey's talking about getting the Chelsea Blues, because when this week is over, and then you just want to start it all over again.
Yeah, afterwards there is a big lull.
Well, across the week we met some fantastic guests keen to share their passion for gardening. Here are just a few of our favourites. I think anyone would have a hard time dampening the noise in here right now. We've got the rain on the roof and huge crowds who've come in here to escape the weather. But I'm also joined by the comedian, Tom Allen. We're staying dry in here, aren't we?
Very dry. Amongst the clematis? Would you say clematis?
Well, I've actually, people say clematis, I say clematis.
Oh, I don't know. Should you say that?
I think Raymond Everson, we're on his stand, I think he calls them clematis. So I'm
Does
going
he
with
say,
that.
oh, see, he says clematis?
He calls them the clems, apparently.
Oh, fine, we're sat amongst the clems.
I'm going with him.
Oh, I like that. Here, next to a Guernsey flute, apparently.
That's where we are.
That's
anyway,
appropriate.
You're looking very dapper here at Chelsea. You like Chelsea, don't you? You come back quite regularly.
I really, really love it. I think it's such a celebration of, well, all the hard work, the amazing gardeners. And I think particularly here in the Marquee is where you see the growers and the people who do all the detailed work. Like, imagine, like, creating these plants must take so much work, mustn't it?
Well, you know all about that because you've been doing a bit yourself, haven't you? You've become quite the dab hand at the vegetable patch.
Yeah, well, yeah, sort of. I've been embracing failure, and I've been enjoying putting it on my social media and just sort of going. For example, I like to play a game of Dead or Not. I don't know if any of the viewers will have played that. Where you go, it looks like it's mainly a stick, but maybe it'll come back to life, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But I kind of go, well, I think it's important to show that it doesn't matter if it works out or it doesn't. If you have a go with gardening, that's the joy of it. And a lot of the time, it's the way it makes you feel.
Do you come here, look around and take ideas home? Because you've got a fairly new garden, haven't you?
Well, I do. It is easy to get overexcited. I did buy an urn, which I thought, looking at the gardens here, oh, an urn would be a lovely thing to have as a centrepiece in my garden. Well, I ordered an urn online, didn't really check the measurements. I mean, it's enormous. It makes my garden look like a cemetery. So do be careful. Don't get too carried away, is my advice to anybody here, because it might look wonderful in Chelsea, might not look quite so good in suburban Bromley.
You live in a flat.
Yes, I do.
But you have a window.
Yeah, that is my
box.
only garden. I live with my garden.
You live with your garden. So it's really important to you, that little bit of nature that you've got.
Yes, yeah, I think because I came from a small town, so I'm always around the countryside. So London is not like a natural habitat for me. So I fill my flat with plants and I go to the park as much as I can. I think plants are just so important.
Well, you've tried to grow tomatoes in the past, haven't you?
Yes, I'd like to set up a challenge every single year. So I have different vegetables or fruit every year. And last year was with tomatoes. And it started off really well, but I didn't realise they can grow massively. And I couldn't put them in the garden or anything. So I tried to get a bigger pot, and it just got so massive, it reached up to my ceiling. And then it fell, and then I had to tie it up to my rail. It was such a disaster. And I ate the tomato and I only got about 5 tomatoes.
But you still got 5 tomatoes?
Yeah, and they didn't taste great.
Oh,
they were
okay.
really munchy.
Were they munchy? Okay.
Yeah.
If you think about it, being a cook and being a gardener, they are intertwined, aren't they? And I know you've recently moved, haven't you?
I have. It's sadly so, you know, because I never thought that I would ever move away from Brixton. But now I have a young son, his name is Christopher, and I wanted him to see a bit more of the countryside. A bit like how I grew up and got the feel of being on the outside and living with the plants. And even though we were in Brixton, but I still grew things in my little garden.
Someone told me you grew an avocado tree.
I bought a seed, planted it with the old trick of putting 2 toothpicks on it and put it over the water, and it grew. Eventually, after years, I had, you know, a massively fully grown avocado
Is it still
tree.
there?
It's still there, and it was one of the saddest things when I moved away from Brixton that I had to leave. I had to leave my avocado tree.
Martin and Shirley, lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you.
You two are proper gardeners. I'll be honest with you. We've had celebrities on here who, you know, put a box ball in the corner and say that they're a gardener. But you two have got a big garden. You've got lots of areas. You are seriously into it.
It's hard, yeah, because I think once you've got it, you've got to commit to it, haven't you? You've got to, you just can't walk past anything without thinking, I need to dig that up, or like, we might be going out somewhere and I'm like, hang on a minute. Just so, yeah, it takes up a lot of time.
It takes up a lot of time, but, you know, it's a beautiful thing. We try and split our garden into lots of little different areas that you can go to with paths that join it all together. But it's a wonderful thing to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, the sun's out, and you're out there gardening early in the morning. I love it.
It's your happy place, really. You'd rather be there than anywhere else.
Oh, without a doubt.
I think definitely for you, it's your real happy place.
Yeah, Shirley I go out about 8 o'clock in the morning. Shirley calls me in about 6 saying, Martin, your tea's ready.
Dinner's on the table.
Now, yeah, in the video, you were wearing quite a lot of white. I mean, do you garden in white? That's what a gardener wants to know.
Yeah, I've ruined so many clothes.
Our washing machine is on 4 times a day. Could do actually a washing machine.
It's not my trousers, it's my trainers. So I just get completely black. Everybody around is nodding, going, yeah, my husband does that as well.
No, we've got muddy shoes everywhere. They're muddy, I'll put those ones on. So we're not very organised gardeners. We just get gardening gear.
You can just hear the tumble dry going, doo-dum, 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 doo-dum.
The trainers are in there again.
Yeah.
It's funny, I used to listen to Spandau Ballet when I was a kid. I never thought I'd be talking to the Kemps about gardening. Now, with our lives as busy as ever, everyone needs somewhere to escape to, and there's no better place to head than our gardens. Earlier in the week, Rachel showed us the inspiration we can take from Chelsea to create a calming sanctuary that will allow you to unwind this summer.
Sometimes when you arrive at a garden, you immediately become calmer. And this, the Bridgerton Garden, designed by Holly Johnston, is a perfect example. She's just paved the way into the garden beyond with this beautiful planting, very lush, very green, but with highlights of cream through the foxgloves and the roses, and also echoed in the stems of the silver birches. And then as you turn to go through into the garden, you see the wisteria. A little bit more colour, a little bit of pale mauve, still very gentle. And you go through the moon gate and leave your troubles behind. Once you come through into the main part of the garden, you are immediately aware of the symmetry. Everything is balanced, it feels right, very comfortable to be in. And then the symmetry is taken through into the trees as well, these dwarf elms. And there are also 4 on each corner of these lovely evergreen yews that have been topiarised. And actually topiary is just wonderful to look at. It's somewhere for the eye to settle. And as a gardener, I love doing topiary. I find that very contemplative, very soothing. Walking around the back of the garden, you immediately feel sort of cocooned by greenery, this wonderful lush green of the hedge and all this planting, the hostas and so on below. And green has been shown to lower the heart rate and blood pressure, so it's very good for you. It is a calming colour.
And following on from all the lush greenery, we've now got the beautiful flower colour, but lovely soft blues and mauves and purples. And there's lots of vertical accents, so things like the foxgloves, the delphinium masterpiece, we've got Iris sibirica, all just standing proud. And then lots of lovely little treasures here, the geranium summerbore, the campanulas. It's all very soft, very pretty. And the planting is sort of just dotted through informally, so it gives you a lovely atmosphere. The whole thing is just wonderfully calming. I don't really want to leave.
It's time now to share with you a view of the showground at a time of day you never get to see. Here's Chelsea at night.
Chelsea wouldn't be Chelsea without the royal visit. On Monday, I joined Their Majesties the King and Queen, along with other members of the royal family, as they toured the showground. They come here year after year to the Chelsea Flower Show, a favourite in the royal calendar, but this is the first time that King Charles has arrived here as patron of the Royal Horticultural Society. The first show garden that the King is visiting is this one, the St James's Piccadilly garden, based on the church in the centre of London, a stone's throw from Buckingham Palace. You've been here year after year, so many years now, but what does it mean when you get a royal visit like that at the end of all this hard work?
Having the royal visit really gives you something to aim for at the end of the build, and it's wonderful to have that sort of royal seal of approval.
Now, this is Tom Stewart-Smith's National Garden Scheme, Show Garden, which the Queen is about to visit. And the whole garden is going to be transferred to a new site in Cambridge for the Maggie's charity, of which she is patron. What does it mean to you to have the royal visit?
It does sort of almost give it a stamp of approval, which is wonderful. Not just for me, but for the probably about 50 people who've been involved in this project, so it's very special.
She was super interested and absolutely adored the planting, so it's a real privilege and honour to just be able to show around. It's so exciting!
For the first time, the royal party is making an official visit to the balcony and container gardens. The King and Queen are almost at the end of their tour of Chelsea this year, but they have one more garden to see. This is the No Adults Allowed garden. This garden has been designed by the pupils at a school, a primary school in southwest London. And when the show is over, the whole garden is going to be taken to their playground.
They really seemed to enjoy themselves, didn't they? They engaged with so many people while they were here.
They really did. It was actually a very relaxed tour. I was following them around, as you saw, and I mean, the designer of this garden that we're sitting on is he lives in Paris, and he's over here, and he said the King wasn't supposed to stop, but did, and came in and talked to him, and how much interest they showed.
He went off programme.
He did.
He went off programme.
He did.
And he is the new patron of the RHS, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean, because he is such a keen gardener and, you know, has a passion for the environment, and it's the perfect role for him.
Absolutely. The Queen quite clearly was enjoying it thoroughly as well, and making lots of unscheduled stops as well. I mean, they were here for a long time.
Yeah, they definitely enjoy themselves. Well, one of the big awards that all the large show garden designers wanted to win was the BBC RHS People's Choice Award, and the decision was in your hands.
People voted in their thousands, but there could only be one winner. And here's the moment that we surprised them.
And I'm here with designer Anne-Marie Powell on her garden. Anne-Marie, we're talking about colour palettes, and yours has got to be the most vibrant.
Now, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Thousands of you have cast your votes. We have a winner. I'm here with Helena Pettit from the RHS, and we're about to surprise the winning designer, and I'm not sure they're expecting it. Come on, let's go.
And so I started with yellow, and then I needed some plum just to support it.
Right.
So, and then
You
I
can
went,
stop there.
oh,
Because we have a surprise for you. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
Sophie, you made me jump out of my skin.
Look what we have for you.
The people have voted, thousands of them, and I'm delighted on behalf of the BBC and the RHS to announce that you are our People's Choice Award winner. I'm so happy for you.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy too.
Don't drop it.
Come on, I won't drop it.
Don't drop it. Anne-Marie, it can be a bit clumsy.
Thank
Don't drop
you.
it. No.
I won't drop it.
No.
What does that mean to you?
It means absolutely everything to me. So, you know, this garden was made with such love by so many people. So lots of people giving up so much of their time. I think Octavia would have liked it. But I'm just dead chuffed because my husband is still here to see me get this.
Oh.
So thanks, Jules, because without you, I wouldn't be stood here.
Well done.
Oh.
Well done.
Congratulations. Another hug. Best hug.
Thank you, darlings. So nice of you. And actually, you really made me jump.
I know, and thank you, everybody. I love to share, and
That's
this means
beautiful.
the world.
Well, this award means that you've connected with all the viewers out there, the visitors to the show. They absolutely love it.
If they get a little bit of what I enjoy about gardening from this, then I'm dead happy. So, you know.
Well done.
So
Very
thank
well
you.
deserved.
I can't believe it.
What a beautiful garden. And Anne-Marie Powell is a very well-deserved winner.
And what a lovely end to the week for her and for all of us. It has been another fantastic week. I'm really enjoying this blue sky sunshine after that torrential rain in the middle of it.
Is that your highlight, the blue sky?
It's definitely one. Right now, it's my highlight, but I've loved these gardens. Are wonderful. I love Tom Stewart Smith's National Garden Scheme. The green, the white. There's some stunning gardens. Obviously, this is one of them.
This is my favourite. Colour palette-wise, this is my favourite. It's so vibrant, and it reflects Anne-Marie's, personality brilliantly. And I think there's so much colour in it that people are just going to sort of flock here to this garden.
Well,
it's lovely.
Fantastic way to finish. Well, that is it from us for another year. We hope you have enjoyed everything that this year's show has had to offer.
It's goodbye for now from us and the whole BBC team in front and behind the cameras. There's a lot of us. Have a lovely summer.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Absolute joy back here, and I think it's just a lovely kind of mix. What do you reckon?
First of all, the planting looks quite flat, but then you realise that no, the pop all the way through. There's an elegance.
There is, and I think just those layers give it that interest, that kind of depth. You feel quite immersed in it. I think it's pretty good.
I think it is, mate. I think it is.
I think some really interesting ideas out there.
Yeah, I think as well a good diversity of different designs, which is great.
And there's so much for the public to take away, so many lovely ideas. But I think now we deserve a cup of tea.
Tea?
Yeah, well, not for you.
Yeah, this All About Plants category is great, isn't it? You're getting new designers coming into that area, the balcony gardens, the smaller gardens, basically container gardens as well, and then you see them progressing through the shows. And also I see garden designers at Hampton Court and Tatton Park doing smaller gardens, and it's just really good show experience, and on smaller budgets, and then you end up doing a bigger garden. And now someone like Tom Massey, I remember him, and now he's what we call a seasoned designer. He's here every year.
I remember him coming here. It was 2018, and he was like the youngster on the block, and now he's here every year. I met Tom Bannister, who's only 24 years old, and he's just got the People's Choice on the container and balcony gardens. Yeah. He's so young, but he already saying, I'm coming back next year, I want to come and do this one of Sanctuary Gardens, so moving up.
You see that progression, and I've got to say the RHS are really good at supporting designers and mentoring them and putting them with another designer, but it's that whole show experience, and so it's slightly addictive as well. Once you've done one, you want to come back and have a go at doing another one, and if you get a silver or silver gilt, you want to have a go at getting a gold as well. So it's highly addictive.
Yeah, I really do. Tom Massey's talking about getting the Chelsea Blues, because when this week is over, and then you just want to start it all over again.
Yeah, afterwards there is a big lull.
Well, across the week we met some fantastic guests keen to share their passion for gardening. Here are just a few of our favourites. I think anyone would have a hard time dampening the noise in here right now. We've got the rain on the roof and huge crowds who've come in here to escape the weather. But I'm also joined by the comedian, Tom Allen. We're staying dry in here, aren't we?
Very dry. Amongst the clematis? Would you say clematis?
Well, I've actually... people say clematis. I say clematis.
Oh, I don't know. Should you say that?
I think Raymond Everson, we're on his stand. I think he calls them clematis. So I'm
Does
going
he
with
say,
that.
oh, he says clematis?
He calls them the clems, apparently.
Oh, fine. We're sat amongst the clams.
I'm going with him.
Oh, I like that. Here next to a Guernsey flute, apparently.
That's where we are.
That's
anyway,
appropriate.
You're looking very dapper here at Chelsea. You like Chelsea, don't you? You come back quite regularly.
I really, really love it. I think it's such a celebration of, well, all the hard work, the amazing gardeners. And I think particularly here in the Marquee is where you see the growers and the people.
Sadly so, because I never thought that I would ever move away from Brixton. But now I have a young son, his name is Christopher, And I wanted him to see a bit more of the countryside, a bit like how I grew up and got the feel of being on the outside and living with the plants. And even though we were in Brixton, but I still grew things in my little garden.
Someone told me you grew an avocado tree.
I brought a seed, planted it with the old trick of putting 2 toothpicks on it and put it over the water, and it grew. Eventually, after years, I had, you know, a massively fully grown avocado tree.
There?
It's still there, and it was one of the saddest things when I moved away from Brixton that I had to leave. I had to leave my avocado tree.
Martin and Shirley, lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you.
You two are proper gardeners. I'll be honest with you. We've had celebrities on here who, you know, put a box ball in the corner and say that they're a gardener. But you two have got a big garden. You've got lots of areas. You are seriously into it.
It's hard, yeah, because I think once you've got it, you've got to commit to it, haven't you? You've got to, you just can't walk past anything without thinking, I need to dig that up, or like, we might be going out somewhere and I'm like, hang on a minute. So, yeah, it takes up a lot of time.
It takes up a lot of time, but, you know, it's a beautiful thing. We try and split our garden into lots of little different areas that you can go to with paths that join it all together. But it's a wonderful thing to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, the sun's out, and you're out there gardening early in the morning. I love it.
It's your happy place, really. You'd rather be there than anywhere else.
Oh, without a doubt.
I think definitely for you, it's your real happy place.
Yeah, Shirley I go out about 8 o'clock in the morning. Shirley calls me in about 6 saying, Martin, your tea's ready.
Dinner's on the table.
Now, in the video, you were wearing quite a lot of white. I mean, do you garden in white? That's what a gardener wants to know.
Yeah, I've ruined so many clothes.
Our washing machine is on 4 times a day. Could do actually a washing machine.
It's not my trousers, it's my trainers. So I just get completely black. Everybody around is nodding, going, yeah, my husband does that as well.
No, we've got muddy shoes everywhere. They're muddy, I'll put those ones on. So we're not very organised gardeners. You just get gardening gear.
You can just hear the tumble dry go, doodum, 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 doodum.
The trainers are in there
again. Yeah.
It's funny, I used to listen to Spandau Ballet when I was a kid. I never thought I'd be talking to the Kemps about gardening. Now, with our lives as busy as ever, everyone needs somewhere to escape to, and there's no better place to head than our gardens. Earlier in the week, Rachel showed us the inspiration we can take from Chelsea to create a calming sanctuary that will allow you to unwind this summer.
Sometimes when you arrive at a garden, you immediately become calmer. And this, the Bridgerton Garden, designed by Holly Johnston, is a perfect example. She's just paved the way into the garden beyond with this beautiful planting, very lush, very green, but with highlights of cream through the foxgloves and the roses, and also echoed in the stems of the silver birches. And then as you turn to go through into the garden, you see the wisteria. A little bit more colour, a little bit of pale mauve, still very gentle. And you go through the moon gate and leave your troubles behind. Once you come through into the main part of the garden, you are immediately aware of the symmetry. Everything is balanced, it feels right, very comfortable to be in. And then the symmetry is taken through into the trees as well, these dwarf elms, and there are also 4 on each corner of these lovely evergreen yews that have been topiarised. And actually topiary is